Shalom. It's your brother Malcolm from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming with the lesson as promised, which is the first of many. I'm going to thoroughly go through this book, Yahweh Ratazah, which is the history of the Middle East. Opening with this scripture, 2 Ezra 6:27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which have been so long without fruit shall be declared. All praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles, the elders of GMS, which are the true leaders of all Israel on earth today, set up by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Salutations to the Akim, the confusion of face Akim, and the Akwath that are listening and learning. You know, these brothers who put their lives on the line, their freedom to do this work in truth and sincerity. To you, I say shalom. Okay? Just going to jump right into the book. All right? I'm just going to read the highlighted portions and then just read scripture to substantiate what I've read. The author of this book, once again, let me show it. This is a reprint from, let me show the title page, all the info on it. It's called A Humble Attempt, Star in the West, or A Humble Attempt to Discover the Long Lost Tribes. All right. Preparatory to their return to their beloved city, Jerusalem, by Elias Ben Badon. It's a French name, so you know, Salaki if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. French is not my tongue, but here it is, and it was printed and copyrighted in 1812. And this is one of those reprint books that they reprinted, which was a huge mistake, because books like this were not revised and changed. And Esau revises. That's why you have books 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th, edition revision has been revised, which means it's been edited and they've taken things out that expose them, because certain words have new meanings, new speak is implied, and that sort of thing. All right, but the whole first lesson is just going to be in a preference. I'm not even to first chapter 1. This is just in a preface, and you have to understand, this guy used a lot of people that I've used in the past. He used like James Adair, this guy Bradshaw, Colden, all these people who were eyewitnesses, 400 years ago, 300 years ago, to the things that were happening with Gad and Reuben when they came to the northern part of America. And because this is mostly about Gad and Reuben, this book. I mean, it does mention, Ephraim and Issachar and the other tribes down in South and Central America too, but this is most of the history, which was from philanthropists and anthropologists that wrote about things that happened during the discovering of the United States of America, as they were raping, robbing, murdering, and killing their way to take this land illegally. Okay? These are the accounts that they encountered, and this is what they learned. And all the historians and the linguists were in agreement that there's no way that these could not be the people of the Most High, which they all knew anyway, because Christopher Columbus came over here for that same reason, and we were able to prove that with books like Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, which, by the way, I got this book for about $30 about 8 years ago, and this book now costs you about $1,000, $900 or so, or more, to get this book hardback. So this truth, what we're doing is getting to Esau, man, because he could say what he want to say and call us black. I'm not. This cup is black. Okay, you can see the difference between my flesh and that. And even Kendrick Lamar said that he's an Israelite. He's not black no more, because black is just a color. It's not a race. It's not a nationality. It's not a race of people. It's a color. All right. It's like there's no such thing as white people. They're translucent. Meaning their skin is translucent, and the redness come forth through their skin because their skin is translucent, man. They're pale. What they are is they're clean lepers, man. All right, and the first came out red. because his skin was pale. You could see his blood through his skin, man. That's actually a mark that was put on them, so you would identify who the wicked is. Okay? And unfortunately, some of our people do come like that because we intermixed and intermingled with them. And all the other races of nationalities. But let's jump into this book. It says, a very bright and propitious star having arisen in the east, making glad the hearts of God's people, and urging the friends of Zion to unusual and almost miraculous exhortations, spreading the glad tidings of salvation among the distant nations of the earth. This book was written, and this guy's boldly declaring the truth. He's not writing this book as if they could be. He's writing this book saying these are the people of the Lord, and then with the evidence presented, there's no argument. All right. It says, notwithstanding the opposition, all right, they often met with from those whom from the worst motives have thought themselves greatly benefited by their ignorance, humiliation, misery, and who feared that by their reformation these opposers might be despoiled of their unjust gain. Blessed be God that there is hope that the day their visitation is near, that the day star from the high begins to appear, giving joyful hopes to the Son of Righteousness, will soon arise upon them with healing under his wings. There is a possibility that these unhappy children of misfortune may yet be proved to be the descendants of Jacob and the lost tribes of Israel. So basically, these Edomites were exploiting these people's ignorance. Well, mainly this was punishment upon them, and they were cut off from their heritage, and they forgot who they were, man. And Esau was taking well advantage of it. This is Sirach 10:8. Because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. All right. And so America, this new land was being translated into the hands of Esau. All right. The so-called white man. All right. And then they took advantage of the fact that Israel had discontinued from their heritage. This is Jeremiah 17:4. All right. And it reads, and thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine inheritance, which I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. And throughout this book, as you will find, they're going to prove over and over again that this new world was the place where the Israelites went to. And all the philanthropists and anthropologists, people of note, the doctors, the people with PhD and doctors and titles before and after their names, were all in agreement of it. But people in the government, they didn't want to hear it because the truth didn't benefit. All right. And as I said before, this book was written from a position that these were the people these people were from the Middle East. All right. Hence the name of the book. All right. A history of the middle, that title, A History of the Middle East, A Star in the West. This is the title, but I'm reading this part here. All right. The title is long, but it's a history of the Middle East. They know that these people came from the Middle East because they know that they were the Israelites. All right. That some of their established customs and especially their manner of carrying on war must appear exceedingly barbarous, even brutal at this present day. To civilized people, the writer cannot doubt, yet it compared with the conduct of civilized nations of Europe, Asia, and Africa in tens of thousands instances, the balance would be greatly in their favor. Indeed, it is an extraordinary fact that in all the wars in this country between the English and French, Spaniards, and Americans, everyone in their turn have uniformly exerted every nerve to engage the Indians to take part with them and to fight in their own way on their side, because they loved the way that Gad and Reuben fought. Gad and Reuben were two of the warrior tribes of Israel, man. They were highly esteemed, as in all of Israel was warriors, but there was something about Gad, Reuben, and Manasseh. Okay. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite fighters is a Manassehite named Yoel Romero. Look that brother up, Yoel Romero. And not to get off subject, but the dude's a beast, man. You know, and Esau has done everything to keep that guy out of the limelight. You know, they've been holding him back for years, and now the brothers is, I think he's 40 now. That brother should have had a title shot, you know, like 3-4 years ago, man. But that's his name, Yoel Romero, man. He's a Manassehite, man, and he's been a #1 contender for forever, man. And they still haven't given the guy his title shot, man. One thing too, he'd always come to the ring with John 3:16, was always talking about God and Jesus, and they don't like that, man. Okay, because he called himself the soldier of God. But anyway, it says they wanted them to fight in their own way on their side. So all the Edomites were they were always trying to involve Gad in these wars and use them. And they would pit Gad against each other to benefit there. And that's, you know, Jake was killing each other as well, as which is displayed on the cover of the Indian slave trade. Because down in South America, the Spaniards did the same thing. They would promise one tribe this, that, and freedom and land and blah, 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 if you help us beat the other tribe, and then they turn around once they beat them and turn on them. And that's Esau's MO, man. This is the Indian slave trade, all right, by Alain Gallet, man. Another book that I reference often, man. It says, and those who make the greatest cry against their barbarity and inhumanity in carrying on war are most forward to furnish them with tomahawks, scalping knives, muskets, powder and ball, to increase their detestable mode of warfare. Nay, that they have employed every man in their power by rum feast. And see, they were giving us what we would call firewater, man. All right. And we weren't accustomed to drinking things like that, man. We had been clean. All right. Esau was basically, that was like a drug back then. Okay. And every provocative to rouse their unbridled passions, increase their thirst for blood, and force them to destruction of their fellow men. All right. So we were being corrupted by Esau, man, as I just showed you when on the cover of the Indian slave trade by Alain Gallet. This is First Maccabees 9 verses 29 and 58, because you always had sellouts among Israel which would turn against their people, man. This is First Maccabees 1 and 29. Since thy brother Judas died, we have no man like him to go forth against our enemies and Bacchades, and against them of our nation that are adversaries to us. All right. So you always had men of our own nation that will stand with the enemy and turn on his brother for favors or whatever. All right. Then all the ungodly men, verse 58, then all the ungodly men held a council, saying, behold, Jonathan and his company are at ease and dwell without care. Now, therefore, we will bring Bacchades hither, who will take them all in one night. So you always had a coon, a sellout, man, an Uncle Tomahawk, who was willing to turn on Esau, man. And it's funny, in class last Friday, I believe it was last Friday. It was either before or after we did the sit down. We watched a portion of Geronimo when they disarmed and disbanded the Gadite unit, and then immediately took them into custody and put them on the same prison train as they did Geronimo and their own people. So they were using them to track Gadites and hunt them down and kill them and put them in shackles, man. And then after they had finally cleansed the land of us savages, all right, who was the real savage, as this book is going to show you, they took them and put them in the same chains, man. All right. It says traits and Indian character. In present time, when popular feeling is gradually becoming hardened by war and selfish by the frequent jeopardy of life and property, it is certainly an inspicious moment to speak on the behalf of a race of beings whose very existence has been pronounced detrimental to public scrutiny. Man, but it is good at all times to raise a voice of truth, however feeble, to endeavor impossible, to mitigate the fury of passion and prejudice, and to turn aside the bloody hand of violence. Little interest, however, can probably be awakened at present in favor of misguided tribes of Indians that have been drawn into the present war. The rights of the savage have seldom been deeply appreciated by white men in peace. He is in the dupe of mercenary rapacity. In war, he is regarded as a ferocious animal whose death is a question of mere precaution and convenience. So they didn't care that we died, as long as we served their purpose, man. All right. And the Lord, because of our own trespasses, put them over us. This is Daniel 8 and 25. And it reads, and through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up and war against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand. And I can't wait for that to happen, man. But when we're entering the second part of the scripture that I just wrote, man. All right. The first part of him setting up his policy to destroy and rule over us, and he still have us fighting in his armies and fighting against each other. He just does it differently now. Okay. Supplying the guns and the drugs and the things to the neighborhoods. And then sitting back and watching Jake kill each other. All right. Esau, because it said man's cruelty. I penciled in Esau. Esau is cruelly wasteful of life. All right. When his own safety is endangered and he is sheltered in impunity, a little mercy is to be expected from him who feels that the sting of the reptile and conscious of the power to destroy. And then he's the reptile. He's the snake. Esau is that serpent seed, man. So this guy said, man, no, Edomites, so-called white men. All right. It has a lot of the unfortunate aborigines of this country to be doubly wronged by the white man, first driven from their native soil by sword of an invader, and then darkly slandered by pen of the historian, and they still do it to this day, man. All right. For example, I watched a video of some Edomite woman's voice talking about, how the welfare moochers and all this other stuff, and every time they do videos talking about welfare recipients on the screen, they're showing you usually Judite women. All right. And you Judite women love them Edomites, man. You walking around with your blonde hair like Beyonce, putting men on child support and destroying their lives. All right. And they become no good to their children in adulthood. They can't do anything for them, And so you buy, but yet they also use you the same way they use these Gadites, man. Got you all on Maury Povich, your entertainment. You think these Edomites, you want it to be accepted by these Edomites so much, man, and you hate it, man. Can you not see that? Can you women not see what you've done? How you destroyed your race? Can you not see it? And then they use you, man, because look, you hate it, man. Nobody wants you, man. And I'm talking about the women of the tribes, mainly the so-called black woman, the Judite, man. All right, and here in America, I'm not talking about the Haitian and the Benjamite women of the islands. I'm talking about you black women in America, man. No one wants you, man. Your own men don't want you, and even the heathens don't want you, man. And the heathens that do, they just want to use you for sex. All right. That's it. You just fulfilling in which they've been doing all along, man. But anyway, it says, in every provocative to rouse their wrong spot. It says, sorry, I was over here. They were slandered by the pen, by the historian. All right. But like I was saying, I got sidetracked, Salakia. But they'll show you the faces of so-called black people when they're showing you these people who use up and manipulate the government for benefits, et cetera, when their own statistics show all it takes is a Google. When their own statistics show that the majority of people on welfare and receiving benefits from the government is white, so-called white people, Edomites. And then the state of Israel is the biggest welfare recipient the world has ever seen. They get billions monthly, man. But you don't see their faces paraded when these type things are talked about. They never talk about that. All right. The former treated them like beasts of the forest. The latter have written volumes to justify his outrages. The former found it easier to exterminate than to civilize. The latter to abuse than to discriminate. The hideous appellations of the savage, all right, which is a nickname, man, which is found in Deuteronomy. Let's get that. That's how, we coming under the curses. Remember, this book is being written, under the guise that, no, these are the people of the Lord, man. And they are. Okay? This is Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become a proverb and an astonishment. Thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all the nations whither the Lord lead thee. Like savage, tree nigger. Those are some of the names. Forest nigger, prairie nigger. Those are the names that they were calling us, man. That they were calling Reubenites and Gadites, who you ignorantly refer to as natives or Indians. Okay? This is Zechariah 11:5. Because they vilify us to justify the taking of our lands, killing and enslaving us, putting us on those slave ships and sending us over to Europe, mainly to Seville, Spain, because Seville, Spain became the reverse slave capital of the earth, man. That's where the main place where they were sending the so-called natives, man. This is Zechariah 11:5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their shepherds pity them not. Okay? Got one more scripture. This is Revelation 12. You know what? I'm going to read this later because that's talking about, the Revelation, the 12th chapter is basically about all 12 tribes. So I'm definitely going to read that later, that whole chapter, maybe somewhere later in the lesson. Anyway, let me continue. The same prejudice seems to be extant in common circulation at present day. We form our opinions of the Indian character in miserable hordes that infest our frontiers. They're already declaring this their home, man. They're taking our land from us, stealing our land, killing us, murdering us, and when we fight back, they call us a savage. It's like if you corner the mouse, it's eventually gonna run back at you. Okay? Their spirits are debased by conscious inferiority. The native courage completely daunted by superior knowledge and power and enlightened neighbors. Society has advanced upon them like a many-headed monster breathing every variety of misery. Poverty, repining, hopeless poverty, canker of the mind, unknown to sylvan life, corrodes their very hearts. They loiter like vagrants through the settlements among spacious same thing that happens now. Jake be out on the corner standing in front of in front of those churches and in front of those damn liquor stores that are all over places, which are ran by heathens, man. So is Judah, the so-called Negro, and the so-called Native American, they are the same people, man. Not only that, they have the same marks in their teeth, man. And I can prove to you that Esau is identifying us by those shovel teeth, by those bumps behind the canine teeth. And only Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have those marks, man. But yet they taught in their science that we were different people. That they teach that lie about Negroid, Caucasoid, and Mongoloid, man. There's no such thing. All right. And that was just to further to further divide us, man. They know that we were the people of the Lord, man. All right. It says, replete with artificial comforts, with only render them sensible and comparative wretchedness of their own condition. Luxury spreads its ample board before their eyes, but they are expelled from the banquet. For the forest which once furnished them with ample means of substance has been leveled to the ground. Raving fields of grain have been sprung up in its place, but they have no participation, man. That's the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, man. All right? Totally, man. Okay? A common cause of accusation against Indians is the faithfulness in their friendship and their sudden provocations to hostility. Besides, the friendship of whites towards poor Indians was never cold, distrustful, oppressive, or insulting. In the intercourse with our frontiers, all right? And see, that's what they would do. They would befriend some of you, and then they turn on you, man. All right? And the same thing was done to Judah to this day. All right? They false flag crimes, like they're taking Judah's face with big beards, and they're committing, and they're doing all this fake news, and they're putting their face, and they're doing the same thing with the northern kingdom, because now Esau is aware that they cannot keep saying black Hebrew Israelites. So now they're displaying both northern kingdom and the southern kingdom as the terrorists with big beards, because the truth is out now of who we are, and that we are the same people, and that the Negroes are our brothers, man. We're the same people as them, man. Okay? And you know, so he's just trying to well, he's not trying. He's being very successful at being a devil, man. But this is wisdom of Solomon. You know, because we still have our people that run to Esau for help, man, and trust in him. This is wisdom of Solomon. I'm not wisdom of Solomon, but Sirach. What am I looking for? Sirach, the 11th, or the 10th. Oh, I'm in wisdom of Solomon. How about I go to Sirach? Salakia. Got a little lost there for a moment. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 12, Salakia. I said 10, it's 12. Salakia, this is Sirach or Ecclesiastes 12 and 10. Never trust thy enemy, for like iron rusted, so did his wickedness. Okay? Verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he shall stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therefore with. And that's what they did. They took our seat. They took our land, man. All right? You're going to take our land and then give us welfare on our own land and then talk shit about it. The orator awakened to all their martial endeavor, and they are wrought up to a kind of religious desperation by visions of the prophet and the dreamer. When last the glorious light of all the sky was underneath this globe, the birds grew silent, and I began to settle as my custom is, and take repose. Before my eyes, every fast closed met thought I saw a vision, at which a spirit which was, I can't read that word, it's not printed, much troubled and trembling at the doleful sight of the spirit cried aloud, behold my son, who I have cherished. See the breast that I gave thee to suck, the hands that lapped thee warmed and fed thee of. Canst thou forget to take revenge of those wild people who have defeated my monument in despiteful manner, disdain our antiquities and honorable customs? And this was a something that a Gadite had said, man. One of the leaders, man. Another cause of violent outcry against the Indians is their inhumility to be vanquished. This originally arose partly from political and partly from superstitious motives, where hostile tribes are scantly in their numbers, and the death of several warriors completely paralyzed their power, and many stances occurs in Indian history where a hostile tribe that had long been formidable to its neighbors had been broken up and driven away by capture and massacre of his principal fighting man. So it was that so Esau was using that divide and conquer, man. And then he would attack your your way of life, your food supplies, etc., man. And I'm gonna end it here because I don't want to make this too long because I know how short the attention span is of Jacob, man. All right, but it says the inhumanity of the Indians toward their prisoners have been heightened since the intrusion of the whites. See, and then they did all these horrible things to us, and then we began to slaughter them back and fight them back, and that warrior, lion-like warrior spirit was brought up out of Gad and Reuben. Then this is the sort of things that they would say. They can understand why you would violently want to scalp them and do all. And Esau started that mess, man. We just perfected it. We were better at it than they were. All right. The inhumanity of Indians toward their prisoners have been heightened since the intrusion of whites. We have exasperated what was formerly compliance and policy and superstition and gratification of vengeance. They cannot be sensible that we are usurpers of their ancient dominion, the cause of their degradation, and the gradual destroyers of their race. And they were destroying us, man. And they were the forces of our degradation. All right. Manifest destiny was embraced by you Edomites, man. And I'm gonna read a couple scriptures and then close this out. All right. Because it's gonna come back on you. Because I did a video some time ago called Manifest Destiny Part 2. There's a part 2 to Manifest Destiny, and you so-called white people are not gonna like it, man. This is Colossians 3:25. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done. And there's no respects of persons, man. So the Most High got it out for you Edomites, man. You gonna get it. All right. And then this is the book of James 2:13. All right. And it reads, for he shall have judgment without mercy that have shown no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.